Welcome back to The Potentialists with yours truly, Bert Oliva. And today I have a person that I met about a year and a half ago. And once I met him, we hit it off right away. And the funny thing is that at first, when you meet this guy, you think he's a little out there. And then after you get to know him, you realize that he is a little out there. But he is a great guy. He has amazing talent. He loves his family. He hits all the marks in order for him to be sitting down in this chair. So without further ado, my friend and the person you want to meet, Kirk Jimenez.
Bert, thanks so much for that awesome introduction. No, it's been only a year and a half. Feel like I've known you my whole life.
Me too.
Love you like a brother, man.
It feels that way.
Thank you for having me here.
A year and a half was when we launched this first studio before we got the second one.
And you already got a second studio.
And we got a third one coming up that we went to a meeting to today. They're ready to do it.
Breaking news. Answer the Potentialists right here, right now, right from the horse's mouth, Bert Oliva, with the latest news. Third BOA studio coming your way. Hot and heavy.
What made you want to become an anchor?
I never set out to be an anchor, man, right? I set out to find a craft, something that I liked doing.
Like what?
I had no idea. It was my sophomore year at the University of Miami, the U, and they made me pick a major. I was like, I don't know what I want to do, and I walked by the school studio, University of Miami studio, UMTV. Shout out to UMTV. And there was a poster that said auditions for sports desk, UMTV sports desk this Saturday, bring your own script. I was like, okay, I like sports. Try it out. And the head of UMTV at that time was a former CNN executive. He goes, you got it. You're a talent. You're a natural. You got the job. I was like, oh, wow. What do I?
They were recruiting that day.
They were recruiting.
And you had no idea.
I had no idea that I got. No, but I was. I was the main anchor. They gave me the main anchor job.
You went out for tryout.
It was a tryout, yeah.
And then after the tryout, you ended up getting the gig immediately?
So gave me the gig right then, right there.
And that was ESPN?
No, that was at UMTV. So that's how I picked my major.
Gotcha.
No, it took me forever to get on ESPN.
So now we're UMTV. And how did that work out?
It was awesome. I learned, the University of Miami has an amazing broadcast journalism program. And I learned the ins and outs, how to be a pro, how to be a visual storyteller, how to craft my writing for television. Learned all of that at UMTV. But back in that day, a couple of, I don't want to say professor, it was a professor. He's like, are you sure you want to do this and anchor in English? I go, and be a journalist in English? They're like, why? I said, why don't you stick to your, what you're good at? Like, you're Hispanic, why don't you work on Telemundo or Univision? I said, why? Isn't my English good enough? With your last name and your accent. It's like, what accent? Like, okay, I have a Miami accent.
We all have an accent, but people don't realize it when they live here.
Again, this was in 1995, 94, 95. It was a different world, right? People, we were pigeonholed, we were marginalized, we were told to stay in our lane, we were told to stay.
But that's what they told you. So what was your response?
I didn't listen to them, right? I said, no way in hell. And so I worked on my craft every day.
How did you do it?
At home, in front of the mirror. And, I would practice every day. Back then we didn't have, phones. You couldn't record yourself. And so I would literally just sit in front of my mirror, practice my delivery, my facial expressions, because I realized it was a performance, right? You had to perform in front of the camera. And, what everybody was teaching me is that I had to look white, sound white, and be the person that they wanted me to be. And that was the case, right? I sent out 500 resume tapes, was told no everywhere I went.
So did that put some doubt in your mind?
No, I never doubted. I always knew what I wanted to do. I believed in myself and believed in those who told me that I had the talent, right? I just needed the opportunity. And so I worked overnight shift at WTVJ NBC6 back in the day with Joe Rose. Joe Rose is still on the air. Much love to you, Joe. And, I interned there, worked behind the scenes, worked overnight. And I worked there overnight for 5 years behind the scenes. And a lot of people taught me how to become an even better writer for television. And I would write.
So for television, being an anchor, one of the most important parts of it is being a great writer.
Being a great writer, being a storyteller, and writing for television, right?
So it's writing, the appearance, the showman part is not as important.
No, it is a showman, but what people don't realize, it all starts with a writing, correct? In order for you to be a smooth anchor and deliver and sound amazing, is you have to write like you talk. and that's all very pre-planned. It's written out word for word.
Let's say the hurricanes are here or whatever. Those people are not writing everything down. They're going out there and it's off the cuff.
Well, that's different, right? That's live breaking news, correct?
That too.
The good people, yes, the good people can ad lib, and most sportscasters can ad lib better than anyone else, right? Most, I don't want to say everyone, but some hard news journalists are, there are those who are just talking heads and they stick to the prompter and they couldn't ad lib their way out of a paper bag. But most sportscasters, and that's how I ended up at ESPN, we can just react to what we're seeing live, the sport, whatever sport it is, baseball, football, hockey, golf, whatever it is, where we're trained at describing the action, right, with colorful adjectives and stories and bringing that video to life. And that's what I love doing.
All these things right now is basically the training that people need. Because I know that you're like the Zoom
I'm
coach.
The corporate Zoom coach. Yeah, I'm the corporate Zoom coach. Yeah.
But this is maybe something you should look into, because a lot of people want to be in front of a camera. It's the new way of doing business for the most part, right? I just got off the interview with Facebook corporate. They were doing an interview on me to find out, what I think about the algorithms and this and that. And one of the things I told them was, what you guys really need is to educate and teach people how to be or how to act or how to deliver in front of a camera. And that's something that you've learned for over 30 years, something you can teach. Because a lot of times we have these things that we do in the second nature to us that we don't realize that it could be a whole training course.
And listen, and this is the potentialist, right? You saw that potential in me because you saw me getting ready for a recording and you said, time out.
I love it.
Is that how you get ready every time you record? And I said, yeah, that's how I've always getting ready.
How do you put yourself in state?
Correct.
How do you stay in state?
So and thanks to you, you said, you should teach that for Zooms and that's how I became the corporate Zoom coach. You saw that potential in me. So thank you for teaching me that. And that's when
I think now we need to level up.
Yeah.
I think now just away from just, you're still the corporate Zoom coach, but this is something that more people need to know, because you can actually put them in a podcast and show them how they need to deliver in the podcast. So when they get interviewed five or six different podcasts.
And it's practical tips, right? It's how you sit.
Practical to you.
Yeah, practical to me. But they become practical tips. They're literally physical steps you can take to make you sound more authoritative, look better on camera, and come off as like you own the set, like you own the camera.
That's
correct?
Awesome.
And those are simple steps that I took for granted because I've always done them. And you said, whoa, you teach that to interns? Like, yeah, I've taught every intern. And my interns go on to be network anchors, journalists, and have
so
great
you finally
careers.
landed the dream job at that time. ESPN.
Yeah, well, it took me a long time. I had to move to Washington State. Fast forward past small market television.
Did they find you, or you kept sending out your resume?
I kept sending out my resume, but it's having a belief in your talent, right? The small station in Tri-Cities, Washington State, that I got my first on camera job at, wanted to re-sign me and give me a new contract. And I said, no, I'm moving back to Miami because I'm ready for the next step. Correct? Well, that next step was finding an agent. And with that agent, he goes, wow, you've really grown in the last 2 years that you got your first on-camera job.
So an anchor has to have an agent? You can't just do it yourself?
Well, that was in a different era, correct? Now you can, do it for yourself, edit yourself, make the contacts. There's the internet. There's LinkedIn. I mean, you can reach it. You can reach people. You can get discovered much more easier than back in that day. Back then, I got an agent. He was a top agent. He got me the ESPN audition. And at the time, I was one of the first Latinos ever to audition at ESPN.
So how do you audition? There was no Zoom.
They fly you up and they sit you on the Sports Center set, and it's such a mind F, right? Because they want
everything like it's real production.
Like you're going on Sports Center, right? And they want to see how you perform and how you act under pressure. Do you treat the camera people nicely? Are you a jerk to the camera people? Were you nice to them? They were observing everything, and that's what they loved about me. They loved about me that I was the same person on camera that I was when they weren't recording.
So when you sat down, they said, here's your script.
No, you had to write your own script, right? But before that, it was, you get into that position, right? And you get interviewed by 18 people. And those 18 people, again, this is why I champion diversity. I was told, are you sure you're auditioning in English with a last name like that and in your accent? I was told I was auditioning in English. Are you sure you're not auditioning for ESPN Deportes? It's like, I was flown up here to audition in English, sir. That was my expectation. You sure you don't want to audition in Spanish? I go, I'm pretty sure.
You can ask however way you want to ask. I'm still going to give you the same answer.
I'm pretty sure it's going to be in English. And so I auditioned in English, and I became the first Latino to anchor in English in ESPN history, to be hired.
What did you feel at that precise moment? Because that's a big, it's a big boy. You're like, I finally made it.
Yeah, listen, there's, that song by Eminem, You Only Get One Shot, do not miss your chance to blow. This opportunity comes once in a lifetime. I lived that, right? That moment they sit you on the Sports Center set, are you gonna shine or are you gonna fall flat on your face, right? And I just had fun. I was like, wow, I'm here. Let me just enjoy the experience. Don't let opportunities choke you, right? When that moment arrives, know in your mind and in your heart and every fiber of your being that you are ready for the opportunity, that you created that opportunity for yourself. Now, go have fun with the opportunity, right? Now live, bask in the moment. And I guess I did, because I was the first to audition out of like 80 people, and I got the job. And they loved the audition. They loved that I brought I had fun with it. I didn't take myself too seriously. I felt comfortable on the set. These are things that people can see. It's energy, right? And that was 20 years ago. And at the time, I didn't realize I was breaking down a barrier. I didn't realize that me yelling Dominicano when David Ortiz hit a home run on the air was something that was, breaking a barrier. I was just having fun. I was like, man, let me rap, man. This is awesome. It's like,
how long did it last?
I was there for 4 years, but every day I had to fight to be myself. Do you have to yell Boricua when a Puerto Rican hits a home run? I'm like, yeah, I do. Because I'm educating the viewing public and I'm representing.
Because they can tell the viewership, right? They know how much more views they're getting when you pop up.
The ratings. And listen,
ratings, right? So they knew that you were getting good ratings.
But more important than that, like, I would get so much positive feedback from Latinos. I got terrible feedback from everybody else. Oh, wow. So I had to stay strong. And listen, I had to dig in and fight to be myself every day, right? And it's like, can I just do it once? I did 3-hour shifts. Usually back then, you would anchor 3-hour shifts, live shifts, nonstop.
Shifts? What times?
My shift was the 9 to midnight shift, the closing shift. And I would have to fight to at least...
You had 3 shifts, so
it was a 3-hour shift.
Oh, okay.
So you would literally anchor for 3 hours live. You'd be live on the set for 3 hours. And it was wild because your games are going final. You're getting stats. You're getting shot sheets. You're getting highlights that you've never seen before. You got to read, react.
So you're doing all this before the camera turns on.
Yes, correct. And then, if I knew what ball player was from where. I knew Pudge Rodriguez was Boricua, and if he hit a home run, I was going to bring out my shtick, my gimmick. Boricua. I knew Bengal Cabrera was Venezolano. Cuando Miggy pagaba un ronazo, I'd yell, Venezolano, and it became so popular, I guess, within baseball stadiums. I could walk into any baseball stadium. Every baseball player knew who I was. Why? Because I was that one guy that represented them. I was that one guy that yelled Boricua. I was that one guy that yelled Cubano. And I represented them, right? So within the baseball players, I was a superstar. I was a megastar. I could go into any clubhouse and every Hispanic baseball player knew who I was and wanted to be interviewed by me. So, I didn't have to beg for interviews.
So,
right?
So after the 4 years, right? What happened in order for you?
Yeah, everybody says, why did you leave ESPN?
Exactly.
No, nobody decides to leave. Very few people decide to leave ESPN, and I didn't. They kicked me out, right? They kicked me the F out.
Why is that?
They told me they didn't feel, quote, comfortable watching me on the air.
How did that make you feel?
I'm like, fine. And I hated that place anyway. Not the fact that the work, I loved working with the people. I hated freezing my ass off. It was so cold. And I'm from Venezuela, right? I got that Caribbean blood. It was so cold being there, right? And I never felt embraced. And you feel marginalized every day. What I didn't know was what was waiting for me on the other side was, once I left ESPN, at least, I had to fight for my voice there, but they let me voice. They let me be Latino. They let me break that barrier down, right? After that, I went to work for the Mets. The Mets, half their players are Hispanic. And I was told, that stick that you did?
How'd you get that gig?
It was another Latino connection. This is what I'm saying. This is why I love being Latino and connecting to Latino leaders, because I picked up the phone and I called Omar Minaya, the first Latino GM in MLB history. And I told him what happened.
He knew who you were,
yeah,
obviously
because he was a huge fan. And he goes, and we had met in previous occasions.
Real quick, I'm gonna jump back real quick. Uh-huh. When they replaced you, did they put another Latino or they put an American person?
It was another Latino.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, another Latino, and
it's not like you're
I was too Latino, right? And I've talked openly about this with other fellow anchors who were black, and they were let know that, they're a little too black. You can, back in that day, now authenticity is king, right? You have to be authentic. Back then, you had to sound like Whitey. We didn't want to rock the boats. So when I got hired by the Mets and SNY, they told me, yeah, you can't do that Hispanic stuff. You have to say the names normally. You can't roll the R's. Yeah. I'm like, but half your team is Hispanic. What are you talking about?
So now back to the Mets. Now you got the gig.
Yeah, that's what they told me. The Mets said you can't sound Hispanic. You can't roll your R's. You can't yell.
So they're restricting you too.
Yeah,
even though that they wanted
you. They took my Latino voice away. Right, I worked there for 8 years.
8 years.
8 years I was at the Mets, and they literally took my Latino voice away.
So ESPN, you were being more Latino.
Correct.
They kind of told you, we don't want this.
After my 4-year contract was up, I'm out.
Then you go to the other one, and there's more restrictions.
Correct.
Worse than what ESPN was telling you.
Correct.
And you still took it.
Well, they were paying me a lot of money, man, and
Yeah, but you sold yourself for the money.
I was still repping, right?
Right.
I was the only Hispanic sports anchor in New York. And, I was living the dream. I was still living the dream in the biggest city, #1 media market, getting paid more than I was at ESPN, right? Because when you leave ESPN, now you have those 4 letters on your resume. Now you're going to get paid, right? And I did. And I had a lot of fun.
So you did it for 8 years.
And I was there for 8 years. But all these years later, you look back, you don't realize, the things that happen to you. Or, for instance, I didn't realize I was such a Latino trailblazer until people still recognize me to this day. I'll get tapped on the shoulder at a sports bar. You're Kirk Jimenez. I grew up watching you, man. It was so awesome watching another Latino doing his thing, man. Thank you for repping. These are 20 years later. People are still recognizing me. So now I'm seeing really the power of, what was done, what I accomplished, and, the barriers that were broken down.
So what happened 8 years later?
8 years later.
The decision was for you to leave? Or
Yeah, the Mets didn't renew my contract. Because I tweeted some dumb stuff on Twitter, and I told my agent, I go, by the way, this is the end of my run here at SNY, my 8-year run. He goes, why? Yeah, and I told him, because I'm Latino and I'm making too much money, and this is going to be their excuse to get rid of me. He goes, no, everyone loves you, man. The people in the studio love you. The producers love you.
The tweet, which is a fun tweet.
It was
knew you as, because you're Kirk.
Yeah, I'm
what
always
people don't see the behind the scenes is what you see, that craziness.
Correct.
Happens behind the scenes.
And I was live tweeting games and being ridiculous but they had warned me, don't be so ridiculous on Twitter. But I'm like,
that's what Twitter was for.
It was the early stages of Twitter, correct? And I was just really being myself, being an idiot on Twitter, live tweeting stupid stuff, right? And then, okay, you're not going to let me be Latino on the air. I'll be Latino on Twitter. Gotcha. I'll yell Dominicano on Twitter. I'll say stupid stuff on Twitter. You can't control me. And then they're like, yes, we can. Stop being an idiot on Twitter. And I was warned, and I continued being an idiot. And I was like, because now I realize, they had totally taken my voice. Yeah. Correct. And listen, when you don't own your own thing, you have to capitulate. You have to be the good soldier. Yes, sir. And that's when I told my agent, the same agent that got me the ESPN job, who worked at a major firm, and I told him, I'm out. I'm done.
Okay, so what did you do then?
I went back into insurance adjusting, and in 3 months, climbing roofs, 10 to 12 roofs a day, 13-hour days, just humping it, busting my you-know-what, I made $120,000. And then I was like, okay, forget TV. And I moved to Puerto Rico to work Hurricane Maria as an insurance adjuster for commercial claims, climbing condo buildings. I was like Spider-Man. And I connected with Puerto Ricans, and in Puerto Rico, people still remember, in Puerto Rico, everyone loves baseball.
Meanwhile, while this is going on, now you're chasing the money. At the end of the day, that's what you're doing. What about the bug of being an anchor?
The bug,
it wasn't there.
The bug was not there.
Because remember, the first time when you got left off from the Mets,
correct,
depression kicked in. But this one, you chose to leave.
The crazy part is I never recovered from that depression. I was in a years-long depression, including in Puerto Rico. But I discovered myself there.
How?
I rediscovered myself there. I started reading the Bible again.
Okay.
Started going to Buddhist temples, doing more yoga. Mm-hmm. Had minimal free time.
Meanwhile, working as an adjuster.
As an adjuster. Had minimal free time there.
So what was that turning point after you started going to church?
The turning point was that I had to accept the circumstances and reset, correct? and realize where I was in my life, what I wanted out of my life.
So what did you want?
I wanted to be okay. I just wanted
What does that mean?
Be comfortable. Be comfortable, be able to take care of my family, my mom, my brother, my sister. I was such a financial pillar for them for so long. And then I effed up and I got yanked away and they all suffered for it too. So I wanted to be okay. As an immigrant and, you take care of your family. And I lost the ability to do that.
You found yourself from doing yoga and all this stuff, so you're in a better place.
No, I was in a better place, still depressed, right? Because during that process, I get divorced. Oh, no, I'm telling you my whole life story. During that process, I get divorced, moved back to Miami because my run in Puerto Rico was over. Now I'm a divorced guy. Artist, love your artist. She got me back into TV. She called me. She goes, I have this. I'm thinking about hiring you for our lifestyle entertainment show at the CW. And I go, wow, that'd be great. What does it entail? Oh, you'd be the executive producer, writer, main host. Everything. And I go, I'm in.
This is like a dream job because this is giving you carte blanche.
Yeah.
You're going to do the whole thing.
And now I'm in charge. While I was there, I started realizing that a lot of our coverage, the only thing black or brown about the show was me, right? We're not interviewing black and brown leaders, business owners. We're not shining the spotlight on them. And so I slowly start changing that. The pandemic hits and that all comes to a halt. And during the pandemic, I realized I stressed out because I was working so hard because I was in charge of a team of 3, including myself. And I get called from the corporation saying, how are you putting together such an amazing show? We have teams of 12 around the nation and other stations that aren't putting a show that are nearly half as good as you. I was like, well, does your host or executive producer have ESPN network experience, New York experience, 20 years experience? Do they have journalistic judgment, styling, editing? You're like, no, we don't have that. Can you teach that? And I go, wait a moment. No, I'm not going to teach it. It's like, well, what does that mean? Will you give me a pay raise? Is there a change in? No, it's just part of added onto your duties. Like, wait a minute. No. Didn't I just tell you I'm working my ass off? Outproducing people and companies of 10 or 12 with only a team of 3. It's like, wait, if I'm this good, again, during the pandemic, everything clicked for me, right? I realized that you didn't need $20 million to invest into satellites because now everyone disseminated. I see the forest for the trees. I need to take control of my own life, my own career, and represent Latinos in English, finally, and be myself yet again. That's when Sizzle was born. During the pandemic, I said, I'm going to make TV, fun TV, lifestyle entertainment TV for Latinos in English. I just didn't know what I was going to get myself into as a business owner and an entrepreneur. Had no experience. I can make TV this fast, right? But I took my lumps, had to learn how to be a finance guy, a business guy, an entrepreneur. But again, always leading with my heart. Always leaning on those Latino leaders at executive levels at major television stations, corporations that I could call and say, oye, bro, mira, I'm launching my own thing.
So once you launch your own thing,
what's your number one advice?
Want to go back to
I'm never going back. I'm never going back.
No matter what.
I'm never going back.
No matter how big the payday is.
No, I'm never going back. If someone out there wants to buy Sizzle TV, I'll go out and do something else.
So tell us about Sizzle TV.
Sizzle TV, I call it the Netflix of marketing and branding for Latinos in English and for minorities because I have a business model that says black and brown don't mess around. I wanted to create a place that creates positive, storytelling and a positive platform for black and brown folk so we could see ourselves reflected in this content. If it's a Disney report, and I work with Disney Universal, thank you so much, Disney Universal, for working with me. If I'm telling a Disney story about the new Star Wars hotel they're opening up, I'm gonna give it the Spanglish feel, right? I'm gonna give it eso está duro, mira que chévere, and then go back into my English, right? And I'm gonna give it that authenticity.
And this is not faking it.
It's not faking. This is who I am. I'm finally able to talk the way all of us talk, right, on a daily basis. Por favor, please. We all talk like that, right? We all talk in Spanglish. And
Spanglish, yes. But now with those like, Dominicano,
But let's really be authentic and make content for black and brown people and cover black and brown people and black and brown businesses and leaders and thought leaders and coaches and all that fun stuff.
But it hasn't been an easy ride.
No, it's been really hard.
Very challenging.
But
even
again,
at this time in 2023, 2024.
Yeah, it's still difficult. It's never easy. being your own entity, right, and creating your own thing. But at the end of the day, you realize that you're working for yourself and you're working for your own future and your family's future, and you really are in control, right? If you're working for a corporation, I've met so many incredible leaders who are entrepreneurs who worked for those large corporations, and they were so talented and so good. They had that aha moment and they realized, I'm not in control of my own destiny.
So your aha moment was when you opened up Sizzle.
My aha moment was when I opened up Sizzle, and
so what's the difference between Sizzle and one of these main stations?
I can humbly say me. I'm the difference between Sizzle and these main stations, and corporations see that because they say, who's going to be, representing us? Who's going to be writing this authentic message? Who's going to be doing the interview? Who's going to be doing the voiceover? And it's this guy.
Now,
right?
question.
It's a 2-time Emmy winner.
Do you choose who you're going to interview, or do people that want to be interviewed come to you?
Both, right? I choose who I want to interview, and I'll go after someone. Oh man, I'd love to interview you. And I also get, can you please interview us? Some people.
Just remember, keep this in mind.
Yeah,
I'm interviewing you first. You've yet to ask me to be interviewed.
Oh no, I have asked you. I have asked you, but you're so busy, launching.
I'm just joking.
Launching, I don't know how many studios and businesses.
Joking. But okay, so there's both ways of doing it, right?
By the way, Bert, can you come on Sizzle TV?
Hey, let's do it. But question, so you
by the way, the Potentialist co-airs on Sizzle TV, so there you go. So
we're going to talk about where to find it.
What does that tell you?
So basically, you go and you look at talent. You find something and you're like, this person really has a great message or a service or a product.
Correct.
And that goes on you, right?
Yes.
So they're like, that's you, like you're scouting basically.
Yes.
But then there's these other people that, you can't know everyone, that finds your Sizzle TV and says, oh my God, I would love to be on that show. They contact you, and there's also an opportunity for them to be on the show, correct?
Correct. And
after you do your due diligence and see that this is something that your audience might benefit from.
Correct.
They want to see it.
And you know what? It could be a black business. It could be a brown business. It could be a female-oined business. It could be a Jewish-owned business.
Can it be a white business?
It could be a white business, too, that's doing amazing things and reaching out and helping, for instance, Grant Cardone. Mm-hmm. Right? I had Grant Cardone and I interviewed Elena Cardone.
He's not black or brown.
He's not black or brown, but he's down. He's down with the mission, and he supports and helps minority children in need, and wants to bridge the knowledge and wealth gap and teach them financial literacy and build a better future for them. And so I love you, Grant Cardone. Love you, Elena. And I love what they do with their 10X Kids book. They give these kids books away, and then they came out with a 10X Chicos book. And I go, I gotta do a story and an interview about the 10X Chicos books. So yeah, if it's everything for me is intentional. Everything has to be serving my mission, and my mission is to what? My mission is to elevate anything black and brown. To elevate my fellow Latinos, to elevate my fellow minorities. Because listen, when you're a trailblazer, when you're one of the first, and you bond with all your fellow minority anchors, and you realize that we're all living the same thing. We're all being marginalized. We're all being put in our corner. We're all being told to sound white. We're all being told not to be ourselves. We're all being told, to put on a facade so we could be digested and we could be vanilla. No, those days are over. That is history. Right, we're living what it's so exciting to be Latino right now and be a minority, because we can really be authentic, and we don't have to sell to anybody who's not down with our message. It's like, you're not down with the message, fine. Don't watch Sizzle TV. Don't book with me, and move on and find someone who connects to you. But those who realize that this is an authentic message and it's an authentic mission, let's do it. And it's led me to become, a financial facilitator and meet other Latino and black and brown leaders in the finance game and the business game.
So question, how long has Sizzle been around?
Since we launched in 2021.
Okay, so a few years now?
Yeah, a few years launched. And we're Sizzle TV is a free lifestyle entertainment smart TV app on Roku, Samsung, and LG. But we just produce content, right, through interviews with me and Sizzle Reel intros to podcast-style interviews, but with production introductions and master marketing messaging. What we do is we create content. That content airs on our app, airs on other people's apps, so it's a digital distribution. It can, if it's say it's an interview with a black business leader, that's going to get picked up by the Griot, a Black Smart TV app. It's going to air there. It's going to get thousands of views there. If it's an interview with a Latino telenovela star,
Right.
it's going to get picked up by Viva Live TV and gets thousands of interviews there.
But then also you
So
provide
forth
another
and so forth.
service, like the service that we do with you guys, is our content. You approved it, and now we're able to actually have
Correct.
it on Sizzle. Explain how that works.
Well, you're a like-minded individual. You're a Latino leader. You provide a very high-end product in the Potentialists, and it's high production value. And you came up to me and he goes, "Hey, Kirk, I'd love to put the Potentialists on Sizzle TV." And I said,
We worked out a deal.
And I said, "I love it. Let's do it because you're part of the mission. You're part of elevating Latinos, elevating Latinas, elevating minorities, and elevating everyone, black, brown, or white. Doesn't matter what your creed or color is, or your sex, or your sexual preferences, right? And that is your energy, and that is what you do. And I love the Potentialists. And I said, and actually, you're the very first show that I closed that deal on that I said, yes, let's distribute Sizzle
Because
TV.
I want them to know that if they have something they're producing and they're putting it on social media and they're not getting the right people to watch, this is another place that they can actually post it. Obviously, they have to go to the process to make sure that they qualify.
Yeah, and listen, and it's all about providing access, right? Not only value, but access to people. And that's why I built Sizzle TV, because everything is gate kept. Financial information is gate kept. Opportunities for your shows are gate kept. Smart TV distribution is gate kept, because now it's, when I built Sizzle TV, I got in early on the Smart TV game and the Smart TV app game, and I was lucky. Now, good luck, to just build your own app or get your own app, just to put a down payment on it is $70,000, right? So now it's at that point. But I never want to lose sight of those struggles that I went through as an immigrant, after I lost my ESPN and SNY jobs. I want to provide access. I want to provide access to the right people who have the right talent, and give them a platform. Let their movies be shown, let their shows be shown, and have wide digital distribution. And that's why I was telling you, it goes not only on the smart TV apps, our own proprietary smart TV apps on Samsung, Roku, and LG, but it gets distributed across other third-party apps like the Griot, Viva Live TV, Local Now, Binge Networks, Hero Go, and a slew of other smart TV apps. So your content, your show is going to be distributed all over those places. And by the way, it's not streaming live, correct? So it's not like, oh, by the way, you have to tune in at 4 a.m.
Right,
on
you can
Tuesday.
binge watch it when you're ready to watch all of them.
Exactly. It's a la carte. It's right when you want it, when you want it. And I'm going to let you in on a deal is I'm currently working on extending our distribution to higher top tier smart TV apps like the Netflix, like Hulu, and Tubi. So I hope to close those deals in 2024. 2024 is the year of huge expansion, not only for Sizzle TV, but for a lot of the Latino owners that I've been connected with who are certified minority
Well, that's another thing I want
owners.
to bring up.
Yeah.
Now, we're going to put Sizzle on the side. We now know everything about Sizzle.
Sizzle TV.
There you go. I see you more like a concierge, like a person that has the right communication skills to put the right people in front of the right people, right?
Yeah.
Let me explain a little bit more. You're 3
Dímelo.
weeks out of the
Dímelo,
month.
dímelo.
3 weeks out of the month, you're traveling somewhere. You're in a convention. You're doing an event. You're doing the show. So you meet a lot of people. And what I've seen you do in the past year and a half that I know you is like, if someone is looking for this, the owner of this that can actually work, and you put people together.
Correct.
And some of the things you've been doing is finances, helping people with their finances.
Yep.
Now we've teamed up and we have a full production studio. So
Yep.
you're putting shows together, not Sizzle shows for them.
Yep.
And, there's a lot of things going on. Explain how Kirk puts everybody together.
You know what it is? As you say that, and I'm a child of Disney, and I'm a child of entertainment. I as you were explaining that, I started thinking about the genie in Aladdin, how he says, "You ain't never had a friend like me," right? And I can humbly say, "You ain't never had a friend like me." Have some of column A. Try all of column B. I'm in the mood to help you, dude. You ain't never had a friend like me. But no, seriously, I've quickly become that guy because I lead with energy. And listen, when you're vibrating at a certain frequency and you're filled with a certain energy and you lead with the energy, right? And recently, a black leader in the construction and electrical space and industry. I had a conversation, open and honest, and I have an open, honest conversation about everybody. And that's how I connect with them, right? And he taught me, listen, you have to realize that when you lead, Kirk, and I can see it clearly, when you lead, you don't reach out like this, pay me. You reach out like this. Let's have a relationship. Let's create a bond. And that's the difference. That's been the difference that I've understood. And listen, really quickly, I've championed the National Minority Supplier Development Council, which is a 50-year nonprofit that certifies minority businesses. And there, we have changed the energy. You know, I was allowed by insiders there, by other certified minority business owners who, listen, they've all built multi-million-dollar businesses, but I saw that the energy was all wrong. It needed new energy. And with their permission, I invited them all out to lunch. I didn't pay for it. Fellow members paid for it, but we all decided let's all break bread. Black, brown, Latinos, Latinas, Filipinos, didn't matter. But you had to have the right energy. Yeah. And we decided right then and there that we were going to unite, and we built a conglomerate. Within a matter of a year and a half, we've changed the energy. We're building a new energy, and we're not officially a conglomerate. We're just leaders, right? We're just leaders who want to connect. We want to do business with each other, and we want to help our sphere of influence grow, elevate, expand.
Awesome.
You know, take the next level. And if that means, you know, meeting a young black and brown entrepreneur and saying, yo, young lady, or yo, young sir, young queen, young king, step this way. Take this step, take that step. Be deliberate, be intentional, and lead with your mission and your vision, not with your cost of services. Lead with your value, right? If you lead with your value, you're leading like this. You're not leading like this. Correct? How can I help you?
So you have this whole thing of hand signals that you're working on?
Well, no, because it's like you either pay me or shake my hand and become a friend and a colleague.
Or you just call me over.
Ven para acá. Oye.
You're doing a lot. You've done a lot. And you mentioned that, you know, you were depressed and kind of down for quite some time. How do you stay motivated? How do you stay on game? I mean, in the end of the day, life is life, right? Yeah. I had a issue at the end of the year, which rolled over to the beginning of the year. Nobody sees it. You know, you post one image or whatever, but everyone goes through tough times. So what does Kirk do now to stay focused and stay motivated?
It helps when you find your mission, right? And you're connected to that mission. And because you're not working a job. You know, Sizzle TV isn't a job for me. Being a marketing expert isn't a job for me. I really care about my clients. I really care about their brands. I care about their black and brown brands. I care about their authentic messaging. And then I also care about, bridging the knowledge and wealth gap. I was lucky enough to meet a huge financial mentor in Elias Moline of Brickell Capital Finance. He's on the board of the Better Business Bureau. He does business lines of credit nationwide.
You're still pitching. We're going to talk about that. But my thing is, how do you stay motivated?
It's meeting people like that who expand your mission. And I learned so much about the finance game, about money, about running your own business through him. And he took me under his wing and he mentored me for 2.5 years. And, I showed up to every meeting he told me to. I listened. I shut up. It's hard for me to shut up. But so recognize that my financial mentor realizes that I learned to shut up so I could really listen and learn the finance game, because he told me, you're such a great communicator and have such amazing energy. You're going to help a lot of people. And, it took me a long time to realize that energy of money when you sell money cheaply and you connect people to money the right way, it leads to new energy. And I connected to that energy. It took me a while to understand the finance game, and he still teaches me something every day. Every time we get into a meeting, we talk about something, he goes, oh, I think you're ready to learn this. And he teaches me something, and it blows my mind.
Which helps a lot of the people you're interviewing. And sometimes they're in the bricks of losing their dream because they ran out of finance, and you guys can actually help them. So this is another thing. You team up with people that can really help the people that you're finding.
Correct.
It's not even help. You serve them, but you serve them the right way with the right people. And you know, that's why we teamed up with you.
And it's creating a community, right? You're part of the community. You're part of our family, and it's really a Latino community that we're building, Latino, Black and Brown, and it's being intentional, right? And it's being, you know, understanding that when you commit to something, a lot of people, you know, become a member of the National Minority Supplier Development Council. They become a minority certified business. What are you doing there? Are you looking to do this? Right? Or you're looking to grow, or you're looking to create a community. You're looking to be part of a community. When I went to my first NMSDC meeting, I sat back and watched, and I got goosebumps. I was like, look at all these amazing Black and brown people. They're all...
Now, mind you, it took you 15 years to get there.
Correct. But there's a lot of people who are Black and brown badasses who aren't in those rooms, who don't know what an NMSDC is, that they're a 50-year nonprofit that will certify you.
That would benefit immediately if they knew that it was available.
Correct. And that's how you connect to corporate contracts, government contracts. You know, they set up one-on-one meetings, they set up pitch meetings, and it's incredible. And then you realize you're in a room with 100 people who, you know, you look left, you look right, and everyone's a Black and brown badass entrepreneur who's built, you know, their own businesses, and they're all giants in their field. But, you know, we're all out there on islands, right? And that's when I realized, I was like, wow, I really need to start connecting these people so we can become our own ecosystem and work together and work with like-minded people you like, you know, that you really like doing business with, that you really like elevating, that you trust.
You know, you have so much information that definitely we're going to have to do a second interview, like in the beginning of next year, because by next year...
Who knows?
No. Yes, but you finally have figured out what your strengths are and how to apply them. So I know that with this year, 2024, you're just going to take it to the whole different level. Yeah. So before we go, I want you to look at the camera and give a message to the Black and brown community, right from the heart. Don't even think about it. Don't give me a pitch. Give me heart.
To the Black and brown community, business community, if you're an entrepreneur, if you're a Black or brown entrepreneur, you know, you got into your business for a reason, right? Double down on that mission. Double down on that reason, and let go of the negative mindset. Let go of the hustle. You know, the hustle is real. Stop that mindset. The success is real, right? En la lucha for Latinos. No, para la lucha y empieza el éxito. Start succeeding. Really double down, and it all starts in your energy and your mindset. It all starts in between right here, these 8 inches. And you have the power to let go of that Black and brown mentality, that immigrant mentality, and deny it. I've caught myself several times. You know, the hustle is not real. The success is real. No, en la lucha. ¿Cómo está? No, en la lucha. En el éxito. Right? And once you make that switch, right, you're going to start believing more in yourself, more in your mission, more in what you do, more in why you started doing your own thing to begin with. Right? Stop self-doubting yourself. Stop thinking, oh, if only I had this, if only I had that. Oh, no, I don't have enough money to do that. I don't have enough money to do that. Stop that. It's all mental, right? Stop thinking from a mentality of scarcity, right? We Black and brown folk, we're so used to that hustle. We're so used to that grind. We have a mentality of scarcity. Oh, man, I don't know how I'm going to pay rent. Oh, God, now the car needs tires. That's all a losing mentality, right? Start from abundance, correct? When I launched Sizzle TV, I knew, and I was going to run that sucker, that it was going to be the Netflix of marketing and branding, right? It's not like, oh, no, that's someday. No. I launched it with that mindset. And I launched it knowing that it's going to be that from jump. And every decision I made was according to that mission and vision. So double down on your energy and stop that hustle mindset, start a success mindset, and make that flip right now, just with the everyday words. Just when people start asking you what you're doing, how you're doing, and you're going to connect to a different frequency. You're going to connect to another energy that you never even thought possible. And you know, when people say, hey, you know, once you really start believing in yourself, then the opportunities start. Oh, if only that day would come. If only the opportunities would fall from the sky. How do you think that happens? Because you start believing in yourself. The opportunities do start falling from the sky. They start materializing, but they don't materialize by themselves. They materialize because you're believing in yourself and you're believing in your mission and your vision. You know, don't wait for stuff to happen. Start making it happen with your mindset. Start making it happen with that mindset of abundance. Stop me, because I
No, I can see that. I can see that.
I've lived it,
You're
bro.
by
I've lived
far
it.
the person that has taken that one message and made it a seminar. But that, now you know who to hire for a motivational speaker. Which, by the way, I had a gig and I couldn't attend, and I sent Kirk to do that gig, and all I got, as soon as he walked out the door, they called me and they said, it was a phenomenal choice, and he did an amazing job. So that's another thing he does, by the way. So, Kirk, I want to thank you.
Thank you, brother.
Not only for being in the Potentialists and being here at the studio, I want to thank you because you're like my young brother, man. Mm-hmm. And I love the way that we've become a family.
We are a family,
and we're all at the top together. And
but listen, can I be honest with you?
No, don't be honest.
I got so heated in that statement and in the moment, and really trying to elevate people. Man, I don't know if my ears are red. My body temperature went up. Everything like became alive in my body, and it's like and now I just want to like grab the table and be like Hulk and Hulk out. But gotta chill out. Again, but this is following the mission, right? When you're following a mission, it's a completely different energy. You have to be passionate. Be passionate about what you do, right? And that's part of doubling down on your mission.
So again, thank you very much.
Gracias a ti.
And I'll see you next year when we do the part 2 to this.
Part dos.
First of all, thank you very much for watching. If you see something that you really enjoy, watch it again. If not, if you heard or saw something that can help someone you know, share it. I'm going to leave you with my quote, the quote I live by. Live life, don't let life live you. My name is Bert Oliva, Cuban born, American made. I'll see you next week.